Hello, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. Today's date, it's July 11th of 2023, and it's almost 8 p.m. Here's my morning meds. Today's the 11th. I haven't taken my morning meds, and I haven't taken my night meds yet. I'll do that here in a little bit. I've had a little bit of not being happy with the audio. And I have been adjusting it a little bit each day and trying to get it right. And I think it was yesterday that I had adjusted the volume of the audio, and a couple people commented that the audio sounded good, but needed to be made louder. So I've adjusted that. So I hope that took care of it. I think this light behind me, I believe it's the light behind me, is making like half of my face. Hang on a second. I'm gonna turn it off. Now I think that works a little bit better. The only light on in here is the balloon, or not balloon, the umbrella. And there's a bright light behind that, and it's over that direction. Also, there's two windows on that side of this room, and at this time of day, that's the west, and the sun is setting in the west, so I could pull the drapes back, but I'll just go with that light. I'm using OBS, and I'm using an old refurbished Dell computer that I paid $200 for from Amazon. I'm using the Razer camera, which I like, and I'm using the Elgato Wave 3 microphone, and I'm happy with it. I also have I just hooked it up yesterday, and that's a Samsung laptop that is Chrome, so it has the Chrome operating system on it. Windows, let's see, Microsoft, let me go first with Chrome. Chrome browser is being upgraded, and it's being upgraded right now. I don't think I have the new one on yet. And it's new and improved, and it's supposed to be pretty nice. And I have a thing down here on my screen that's pointing to Google Chrome. I wonder if the new version, oh, no, I had the mouse on it, I think. I think that was it. Maybe not, let's see. Whoops, what is that? I can't see anything here. Anyway, Google Chrome is browser, the Chrome browser, is being upgraded. It's supposed to be much, much better. And right now it looks like the browser people are working hard to make the browser, their browser really, really good. The same with the nope, that's not it. The same with, what do you call it? Not Chrome. Maybe if I move over here, it'll tell me what. Nope, that's not telling me. Anyway, whatever the name of the other browser is. It also is being upgraded. It's a Windows browser. It's being upgraded, and it's being rolled out now. Some people have got it. It's being improved a great deal. But it's I mean, when you click to upgrade it, and you don't have any choice, I really think it's going to be everybody's going to get it upgraded. You can't say, no, I want to stick with what I have right now. Windows Edge, I guess it is. And so those are coming out. You may already have them. I don't have them yet. So what else is going on? There is, let's see, let me pop over here and go to, let's see, where do I want to go? I want to go to Amazon. And want to go to my list. Okay, I'm using a Razer microphone. No, I'm using a Razer camera. And Razer has a, I think it's been around for a little bit, a year or so, I'm not sure. It is this one here. And it's supposed to be pretty good. I watched some videos about it on YouTube, you know, being reviewed. I hate these things where they want, you know, I don't even use a discount, you know, the things like that. I don't even use them. It's a USB microphone. It is a cardioid, and it uses, of course, you know, Razer software, which is really good. USB, of course. Dynamic microphone has an incredible low end that gives your voice a deep, warm quality that sounds full and clear thanks to greater noise suppression. I think right now I could use noise suppression. You know, the Elgato, well, in fact, I watched some reviews and they lumped some of these various microphones in together, and they were all, their software was good and whatever, but since I'm using Razer, you know, camera, I think I'm going to go for this when I can afford it. High pass filter. Digital analog limiter programmed to automatically prevent clipping and peaking, so there's no reason to worry about your voice breaking up or sounding noisy while streaming. It has a built-in shock absorber to it, and it has also a voice or a shock absorber, and what was the other thing in there? Shock absorber and something else. Anyway, that's in there. So anyway, that's on my wish list. And I don't usually like the cardioid microphones because you have to be, you know, right, especially for me, you know, moving around or something, and it has to be. Also, this one's kind of different, and you talk into the end of it, and that'd be fine with me too. So that's on my wish list, and I'm hoping this, because I was told by, well, 2 people, that the audio sounded good. The video from yesterday, a couple of videos I made, I think, and that the volume needed to be cranked up a little bit, so I've cranked the volume up. Like I said, I believe I said I was using OBS now, Studio. I did away with Manicam, which I've used for years and years and years, and other things. I haven't, and that, with OBS all this can be done, I just need to learn how to do it. So I'll eventually get back to, underneath this video there will be the date and the time, and how long the video is at this point, so you can kind of tell. Although if you're at, WordPress, no, not WordPress, YouTube, you can just move your mouse down and find out how long you've been, how long everything is and that type of stuff. So, but I'm still my plan is to put that underneath and do some of the other things that I have not done with OBS in the past. Just about everything that you can think of, I've been doing this since 1982. I was streaming before anybody else was streaming. When I started streaming, I was having to use my own computer, which was adequate, but it wasn't powerful, because there wasn't any powerful ones yet. Other than, something the military was using or large corporations or something. But I've been around when all these things were, and I tried out a ton of these kind of things. The guy who made the first commercial program for people to use to communicate with other people or whatever, I was his first paying customer. That's before there was a PayPal or whatever the one company before, or the 2 companies before. Who's the banking people? Can't remember. I was there before, when they signed on, I was there and then signed up to be customers or whatever. So I've seen, anyway, I was streaming just before anybody. In fact, I was streaming back, not sure exactly when. I pulled out some paper that I had printed out in the past. I'm not sure exactly what's on it. It's a list of hardware that I bought, which will tell you something. But so I've tried out a lot of this stuff. Did I mention that over here is my, I think I did. I set this up yesterday again. And it's I think I mentioned it, Samsung Chromebook portable. And so I'm hoping I can improve. I think that this video is fine, and I think actually, I think it's fine just that size. I don't think I need to have a whole separate screen that I switch back and forth to that has me full screen or whatever. You don't need to see me full screen. You do not need a close-up. No close-up of Jim. So I'm looking to improve. I'm hoping this audio is better than yesterday. I'll settle for, just Oh no, it's hot. Hang on, I'll be back. I'm down to 2 cans of Coke. Well, after this one, it'll be 1 can of Coke. And we're not ordering groceries from Walmart until, I think, let's see, what date is today? Oh, come on. This is Tuesday. I don't think we're ordering until Thursday, so you may see me having some type of a fit or something because I don't have Coke. Half a block away, though, is a little store in my store up at the corner, half a block. Uphill, I don't think I could make it uphill half a block. But I can get him to go up and pick up a 2-liter bottle of Coke or something. He bought a sword for $100, a big sword. Might have to start locking my door. I told him, you know, don't go outside walking around with a sword. Somebody will call the police, and you know when they arrive, you know, they're probably going to yell, you know, put down the sword, drop it, or whatever. And if he would do something stupid, you know, that would not be good. So he says he wouldn't walk around with it outside. He was in there. He must have gone and walked someplace and bought it. He had a stone for sharpening it. And I tried to explain to him. I used to be a boilermaker. I also studied on my own, like metallurgy, and too, we made our, you know, we had our jobs welding, whatever the jobs were, and there was tremendous, you know, use of welding and stuff. And of course, I could do arc welding, and I could do, you know, MIG welding and that type of stuff, and also, you know, acetylene welding and cutting. And then, of course, we also had electric things for, you know, cutting steel where, you know, it comes out and blows the steel away. But anyway, on my own, because it wasn't required to be a welder, I studied into, well, we made our own, like, chipping hammers and stuff. Most of us did. And so you learn a little bit about blacksmithing. And the union I belonged to was Boilermakers. Do I have my card up someplace here? My union card? I think I did. Boilermakers, blacksmiths, shipbuilders. Well, anyway, blacksmiths was one of the things in there. Anyway, I tried to explain to him. But one, I explained to him, please vacuum up the stuff that you're taking off that so that you don't step in it or track it out, and I can't afford to have a scratch on my legs and feet since they're not getting good blood circulation. And he did, and he vacuumed that stuff up. And then I tried to explain to him, but he was the kind of mood he's in, or the kind of condition he's in is, I say 3 or 4 words, and then he starts talking about something that's not, you know. I tried to explain to him, you know, the type of metal that it is. You know, metals vary, and some things you really just, you can't sharpen them, and some things needed to be, you know, heated and at certain temperatures, and you do, you know, that kind of, but he didn't want to hear any parts. I'm not sure if he's actually making it any sharper or not, but Did I say I think I'll lock my door at night? So I hope he doesn't go outside walking around with that. He didn't ask, you know, he didn't tell me he was going to, well, he's an adult. So, but he told me he was getting something in. And then a large sword came. I got a small order into Amazon. And it's coming tomorrow. And what is it? Oh, those cables that I told you about that I bought, which made, wow, they made a difference on, and they're, you know, for hooking up monitors. And they actually made a difference. They were kind of expensive, not real expensive, but they were kind of expensive, but made a major difference. And a lot of that stuff I don't believe, you know, makes a difference when but in that case it made a difference. So I think, how many, 3 feet, or was it 6 feet? I think they were 6 feet, 6 feet when I think. And so they're kind of long, for, you know, because the computer's right here and the monitors are right here. So I ordered a 3-foot one, and then eventually I'll probably order another 3-foot one. And I ordered, a knife. A while back I purchased a knife because I need it for opening up boxes and that I get and stuff like that. And then I think, well, that's kind of funny. I think I put it someplace so my son wouldn't get hold of it. Now he has a sword. And I ordered a knife that, so I ordered another one to come in. I think I might have put that other one someplace, and so my son wouldn't pick it up and cut his finger off or something. Grown son. He's a big help to me and Darlene, or should I say Darlene and me. I use Grammarly, by the way, for, that's what I wanted to mention, yeah. Because, here it is, yeah. Let's see here. From CNN, bot or not, how to tell when you're reading something written by AI, and AI is the big thing. Everybody's talking about it, and it is already here. It says, AI has gotten good at writing. Here's how experts say you can identify it. And I'll put that link to that below. That's from CNN. Also, what I will put below, and which I've been doing, is the thing that, like, so far I think I've used AI 3 times, maybe more than that. But when I first used AI, and it's available on Edge, I think Microsoft Edge. Well, let me pull that up for you. Oops, I already did, okay. Okay, let me go down here. So, okay, so here it is. It's free, and it's so being used. You can read this, you know, you can pause and read it or whatever, but okay. So I'm going to pick, you have 3 choices up here. I'm going to check. This time I'm going to do balanced. And what I asked before, I knew better than ask who is Jim Howard, because there's a lot of Jim Howards. So I ask, what is Howard's notebook? And I was blown away. Okay, this looks like the identical, yeah. This is what came back, and it's on, you'll see it now. I'm using it at various places on my YouTube site. Howard's Notebook is one of the first online sites in the world. It was started by Jim Howard in 1982 as a bulletin board system, BBS, and it became one of the first blogs. Many people think that Howard's Notebook is the first blog. It was one of the first sites to do live streaming. Link Up Magazine picked Howard's Notebook as one of the 10 best online sites in 1984. So when I saw that, I copied that, and I've got that now pasted. You'll probably see it on my YouTube site. Maybe underneath this, or someplace down in there, or maybe when you go someplace else you'll find it, because that's great. And it's all true, by the way. I mean, well, not that one of the first online sites, yes. Well, anyway, so there is AI, working. Now, let's see. I wonder if that's exactly, I think it's exactly what I had when I did that last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever that was. Down here, look. Answers from this page instead. What is a bulletin board system? That's new. That wasn't there before, I don't think. Although I was so excited to see what it said, which is true. Answer from this page instead. Okay, I'm going to push this. Okay, according to the current web page context, that's because it's CNN is over there, I think. Could you please provide me with more details? Okay, let's try answer from web instead. Searching for what is Howard's Notebook. Okay, that's the same thing that came up before. I think word for word, I believe. Okay, I'm going to click on who is Jim Howard. That's not going to, there'll be a lot of Jim Howards. So, oh, that's interesting. Because it did a search for Jim Howard, but it came up with, okay, wow. Jim Howard is the founder of Howard's Notebook. He started it in 1982 as a computer bulletin board system, BBS, and it became one of the first blogs. Many people think that Howard's Notebook is the first blog. It was one of the first sites to do live streaming. Link Up Magazine picked Howard's Notebook as one of the 10 best online sites in 1984. According to his blog, he still has some of the people from the old BBS days reading his blog, which is true. And it says 4 of 30. Wow. Yeah, that's actually, okay. Answer from this page is said, what is a bulletin board system? Wait a minute, let's do this. Can I still, or did I ask that? Can I still access Howard's Notebook today? Yeah, this artificial intelligence, I'm impressed. And to tell you the truth, there's not a lot that impresses me anymore. Yes, Howard's Notebook is still in operation according to Jim Howard's blog. He moved Howard's Notebook to the web in 1995 when the World Wide Web was invented and is still in operation. You can visit his blog at, okay, it's going to go to, which I don't think exists anymore. It's recommending, you know, that you go to ShowMeBlog, blog.addwordpress.com. I don't think that's going to work. Well, it did. That is, yeah, I don't think I even remember that. I don't. Okay, there you go. I remember doing, I remember doing this stuff. But, I was always interested in personal computers and things like that. In 1978, I got a Radio Shack Model 1. When I got the TRS-80, it had 4K of memory. I upgraded to 48K of memory. Let me deviate from that and say, by the way, which I've said, when my computer would sign up, 48K now, not 48 meg or gig or anything, 48K. What I've said before was, every time my Radio Shack Model 1 computer, and I would see 48K, I would think, who could need more than 48K of memory? It says here, in 1982, I wrote a bulletin board system, BBS, for my TRS-80. I wrote the program in BASIC. I had to write my own program because my computer did not come with a disk drive. It came with a tape recorder that you used to input and save data. In order to add a floppy drive, you had to spend $350 for the interface box. Then you could add a floppy disk drive that would cost you another $350 just for that. So in 1982, I put online Howard's Notebook. Wow. I might just paste this underneath this. Let's see. People connected at 300 baud. Upgrades and new things were done until 1995 when the World Wide Web was invented. Howard's Notebook was moved to the web and is still in operation. I began blogging. I've been blogging since 1982. I was one of the first online sites. In 1984, Link Up magazine picked Howard's Notebook as one of the 10 best bulletin board systems. Yes, you will be told that blogging began in 1995. Wrong. I was blogging in 1982. I'm still blogging today. Yes, I've been blogging for over 35 years. You see me in BBS the documentary by Jason Scott. I'm only in the documentary a few short times, but Jason said that that I got the biggest laugh in the movie. Jason has a 3-hour interview with me. He only put a few minutes in the documentary. Please ask Jason to release that 3-hour video. If he does, I'll release it and put it here on YouTube. By the way, I asked him, he did release like 250 interviews that he did that were recorded, some an hour, some 2 hours, some 3 hours, and I think mine was about 3 hours. And he released 249 of those videos that are at archives, whatever that is, archives.com or whatever. There's one video that he didn't release. Mine, I don't know why. I left him a message several years ago and said, you released 250 videos and there's one you didn't release and it was mine. Why didn't you release it? Never heard from him. So, let's see. I was one of the first sites in the world to stream live video. You have found one of the oldest sites in the world. You may wonder how old I am. I am 77 years old. Okay, now I'm 82, so that's when this was written and last updated, I guess. I have a history before 1982. I am one of the founders of the first people-to-people organization. I was active in civil defense in Kansas City, Missouri back in the late 1950s. I was a member of the Ground Observer Corps until the U.S. Air Force ended the program in 1958. I was active in shortwave listening from 1955, and I'm still active in shortwave listening and ham radio today. Well, that's not true. My ham radio license expired, and I couldn't figure out how to log in to the FCC to renew my license. Let's see, you can read about my early days of shortwave listening in the book Listening on the Shortwave 1945 to Today by Jerome S. Berg. And he interviewed me for the book. I put out a number of publications on shortwave listening in the old days. I even did a shortwave radio program that was broadcast over WRUL radio around the world. WRUL radio did not like one of my news items and took it out on the broadcast, took it out of the broadcast. I put it back in the next show, and that was the end of my radio program. WRUL replaced it with DXing Worldwide. Okay, this image here, the image being done, the image above is Jim Howard, me, being interviewed for BBS The Documentary. And I was streaming out video of the interview on my BBS live, but I did not do the audio. That would have been, I wouldn't, since he was trying to make it, so. There's my dog, my Labrador Retriever. There's my, what was that now? Helicrafters. I think it was an SX-99. I loved my shortwave listening that I did all those years. There's some of the QSL cards that I got. There's one for Sputnik 1. And I can't make out. I should run this picture through the hardware or the software that's available to us. That would improve it greatly, There's one up there that on Army Day or Veterans Day or not Veterans Day, whatever, I don't know if they still do it or not. They probably still do it. The military would transmit on their frequencies. I mean, not all of their frequencies, but on certain they would transmit. And if you copied it, they would transmit for a day or something. And if you copied it and you send them in, or you send in a reception report, then they would send you a verification, a QSL card. And I had them for quite a few, but the call sign was war. Maybe, I'm not sure if it was that every year or whatever, Of course, our Defense Department used to be the War Department during World War II, and then they changed it to, the Defense Department and that stuff like that, because that didn't sound too good, especially when Radio Moscow was saying we were warmongers and stuff. 5 thoughts about Jim Howard and Howard's Notebook. There's somebody that made a comment. Oh, Trey Meyer. Wow. Hey, Jim. Fun reading your bio. I was 15 in 1982 with a 300 baud modem and a VIC-20 computer. I had a bunch of VIC-20 computers. Also with a tape recorder, yeah. Commodore, they came out with a VIC-20 computer, and everybody wanted a hard drive of some type, or not a hard drive, I think just a drive, I think that would read, and they kicked out these VIC-20 computers and, Commodore 64, yeah, I had a VIC-20, but then I had Commodore 64s. That was the one that everybody wanted a drive for it, and let's see, he's saying, we spoke a number of times back then. Weren't you at Research Medical Center then? I was. Your site helped my interest in computers going, and I wound up getting a CS degree from KU. Anyway, I hope all is well with you, and it was fun reflecting. Take back, Terry. I had that happen a lot since I was, one of the first people with, and I had a lot of people that I would run into. Somebody that was a banker, I'd go into a bank or something, or like when the first internet company came where you could hook up with them and have internet. When the first one came to Kansas City, I went down immediately to sign up, and I went in, and this is going to be a long video, isn't it? How long have I been talking? Okay, I'll make this an hour, and I'll put the link, by the way, to this, and then I'm going to copy this and maybe I'll make that just an entire. So anyway, this is me answering it back. Glad to hear from you. I also had a VIC-20 and a Commodore and a C64. I even attempted to run my BBS program on the VIC-20 just as a one-day test. It worked, but because of the small amount of memory, it would answer the phone and say, "Welcome to Howard's Notebook," and ask for login, and people would enter the name, and then it would take minutes for the next thing to pop up, so everyone hung up. But the BBS ran on the C64 for years. It was a great computer for that. It was fun back in those days. Everyone was so nice, like a family. We even had some times we met with each other. I started that list that kept it up to date for years. It was a lot of work. Thank God the local SysOp group asked if they could take it over, and I said yes fast. Do you remember the SysOp Next Door story that I ran each week? It was written by JoAnn Goodman. Now, I think I told that story in one of my videos here on YouTube. My daughter, LaDonna, who was, I think, in high school at that time, and who I've mentioned before, and I'm not bragging on me or anything, definitely not me. She was and is very smart. And so I asked her, could you write something for Howard's Notebook? And so she wrote something called the SysOp Next Door. And I ran it. Now, of course, it was great. I mean, she's really talented. And I ran that, and bang, other people started reading that, and then other people that ran. By that time, there was, I don't know, it might have been 25 or 50 bulletin board systems. When I started, there was two. One by a guy who wrote BBS software for the Tandy, for the Radio Shack computer. And he was selling that stuff BBS software worldwide. And he was, however, an asshole. I mean, but that made me better, because it was him and another guy, and then me. I was at like the third bulletin board system. And so the guy, there wasn't much place, you could go to my site, or you could go to, one of them was the Apples. That was that too. Then there was an Apple users group that I don't think they had a message board. It was just software you could download. It was in somebody's basement, and I think that ran for years, and they didn't make any improvements to it, I don't think. I never logged into it, but anyway, this guy who wrote Form 80, that was the name of the, man, stuff's coming to me, like, that was the name of the, his software. And of course I couldn't run his software. I didn't have the hardware to do. But anyway, well, then I ordered in a modem. I didn't know what a modem was when I ordered in a modem, by the way. I ordered in a modem, and then I saw what it was. Wow. And it was like 2 or 3 other bulletin board systems in Kansas City. I couldn't get in the Apple one because of the port. The modem used RS-232. That's before there was no USB. There was no USB ports on computers. USB didn't exist. So I bought another modem because it was using the standard port, and then I could. But so anyway, people were logging into by then there was more bulletin board systems, and this guy that did the Form 80, well, it was like at the beginning it was like there was 3 places I could log into, I think. And so I'd log into his thing just about every day. It's read the emails or whatever there was, the stuff. Anyway, I logged in and I was typing away, and then I hit enter, and then he jumped into chat, and I forget what he said exactly. What's the fucking matter with you? Are you fucking stupid? How can you be so fucking stupid? And I was like, I'm sorry. What did I do wrong? He said, I just finished writing the code for the bulletin board system where you don't hit carriage return at the end of a line. You just keep typing and it just... And I said, oh, I'm sorry. And then we talked a little bit. He calmed down a little bit. And then I asked him a couple questions. And I said, oh, I got this I got a new modem, and it does AA. I said, and I'm not sure if I knew that was auto answer at that point or not. And I said, what can I do with that? And he said, what do you want to do with it? And I said, I don't know. What can I do with it? And he said, well, that's auto answer. So he says, I guess you want to do a bulletin board system. And I don't think I even answered. I just, never occurred to me to run a bulletin board system. So I said, okay, well, you want to run a bulletin board system, you have to do such and such with your drive. I didn't have any, we're talking floppy drives. I had something that some guy invented, Tom Wheeler, little tiny, like on an answering machine, they have these little tiny tapes in there that were, well, I don't think those were any. Anyway, these were, I bought 4 of these units, and the tape was endless, and I hooked those up, and it was like having 4, hard drives, and I could tell it to, send this data to tape 1, retrieve this data from tape 2. That kind of was pretty neat. It was not as good as a hard drive would be. I didn't get a hard drive until I bought a Tandy 2000 computer, and it had a 10 meg hard drive in it. Anyway, so that my daughter wrote the system next door, and I put it on, and then the other bulletin board people were, reading it, because there was just so few of us that everybody was, and then they started saying, Jim, could I run the system next door? Would it be okay if I downloaded it and I put it? I said, sure. So they were running it on these other things, and LaDonna just had a knack for writing and a knack for everything. And she made these assist op next door. I mean, great, because she used, like, she didn't use our names, but she used people, they got different names and that kind of stuff, but people knew, that's Joe, that's the way he is, and that kind of, she was doing that, and then the people, they were going fucking crazy over it. The name JoAnn Goodman when I was in grade school, I think maybe third or fourth grade, there was this girl that went to school, a blonde, and I was in love. And she's the first girl I ever kissed her. I remember standing out in the middle of the street, and I don't know if we were 8 or 9 years old or how old we were, I can't remember. I went for a kiss. She wasn't expecting it. We weren't talking about, I didn't tell her I loved her or anything like that. And I think I missed her lips and I got her on the cheek or something. But anyway, that was the name JoAnn Goodman. So then, before there was at Baptist Hospital, there was a users group that was the Commodore 64 users group. And they had meetings once a month, and they filled up their auditorium or whatever. And so, anyway, in messages, I got, are you going to be going to the next meeting of the Commodore Youth at Baptist Hospital? And I said, sure. And then somebody, one of the sysops said, I'm going to find out who that, because they asked me. And of course, it appeared originally on at first. And then I think they had to ask me, I don't know who she is, And then, well, how do you, and I said, well, it's just sent to me, but there's no, I forget how and they went for that. So then at Baptist Hospital, I showed up for the meeting, the room was filled, and I was sitting at the table, and I think LaDonna was sitting next to me, and I forget the other, how can I forget his name? Was it Rick Wilson? I can't remember. He's still around, and he blogs in here occasionally. What was his name? What is his name? Anyway, so he was there. I think he was the one. Okay. Does anybody see, I don't see any girl. Or of course, LaDonna was there, my daughter. I don't see her. I don't know. He said, I got it figured out. He said, when we go back to the auditorium, I'm going to have the hospital operator page that JoAnn Goodman page her. Phone call for JoAnn Goodman. And then he said, she'll get up and she'll go over and get the phone on the wall there, and then we'll know who she is. And then so we went back, and of course LaDonna was sitting there with me, and they paged, LaDonna, of course, didn't go, and nobody went. And we went back out, take another break or something. We're like, gosh, damn, And they never knew who she was until, I think, a few years ago, maybe last year, for the first time, here on my thing, I mentioned, by the way, JoAnn Goodman was my daughter. Okay. 7 more minutes. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to, wow, I wonder if these archives even work still. Let's see. Let's go to 2017, see if that material's still there. It's still there. Okay, I'm going to put a link to this, guys. I'm putting a link to this, and then I'm going to copy some of this material too. And actually, I've seen this before, and I think I said before, oh wow, I forgot how detailed, and I don't think I went down this far, and I don't think I clicked on the archives. Okay, thanks very much for watching.